Being a member of the British royal family isn't as easy as it looks. You can't be political, controversial, or show emotion. And any slip-up you do make will be all over the news across the globe in very short order. The Queen Mother's motto was, "Never complain, never explain, but when words fail, actions can speak louder, and those actions can be passive-aggressive or just plain ruthless." Here are 5 examples of when a royal let their guard down. Queen Elizabeth II loves to drive. She learned during World War II as second subaltern in the Women's Auxiliary Territorial Service as a truck driver. As Queen, she is not required to hold a driver's license. Former Saudi Ambassador Sherrod Cooper Coles recalled a visit made by Crown Prince Abdullah in 1998. After lunch at Balmoral, the Queen suggested a tour of the Scottish estate and directed her guest toward the Royal Land Rover. The Crown Prince sat down in the passenger side and was shocked to see the Queen position herself in the driver's seat. She started the engine and tore around the narrow roads, chatting away to the prince as they went over the rough terrain. Eventually, the panicky prince was forced to ask her through his interpreter to slow down. It may be a coincidence, but at the time, women were banned from driving in Saudi Arabia. The prince survived his spin with the Queen, and in June 2018, Saudi Arabia's driving ban was finally lifted. After his divorce from Diana, Charles employed Alexandra Tiggy Legbook, a well-connected young woman, to help care for his sons. Tiggy's job was to be a fun older sister rather than stern nanny, and she quickly formed a close bond with the princes. Their mother was not impressed with Tiggy's role. Tensions grew between the two households, and soon, Diana began to suspect, wrongly, that Tiggy and Charles were having an affair. Diana seized upon a false rumor doing the rounds that Tiggy had gotten an abortion. Diana made an appearance at a staff party in December 1996, strolled up to Tiggy, and allegedly said, "So sorry about the baby." Tiggy instructed top libel lawyer Peter Carter-Ruck to write to Diana's solicitors demanding an apology for the offending remark. Tiggy continued to work for Charles until 1999, when she left to get married. She has remained close to Princes William and Harry. Princess Anne is known to be a strong character, and this was tested to the limit when Ian Ball attempted to kidnap Queen Elizabeth II's only daughter. On March 20, 1974, the princess, her husband Mark Phillips, a bodyguard, and Anne's lady-in-waiting were traveling in a royal limousine. Ball, a 26-year-old unemployed man from London, drove his car into the royals' vehicle and then jumped out, brandishing 2 handguns. Anne's bodyguard approached him and was shot in the shoulder. Ball then tried to get into the car, shouting, "Open or I'll shoot." Anne and Phillips tried to hold the door shut. Anne's chauffeur approached Ball, only to be shot in the chest. Ball was now free to reach into the car, and he seized Anne's wrist while Phillips, a captain in the British Army, clamped onto her waist. "Please come out," pleaded Ball. "Not bloody likely," was Anne's reply. Incredibly, Ball shot a further 2 people, a police officer and motorist who tried to help. Finally, a passerby punched Ball in the head. As police arrived, Anne bizarrely said to Ball, "Go on, now's your chance." Ball fled toward a park but was caught and arrested. The first rule of working for the royal family is, keep your mouth shut. In 1932, Marion Crawford was employed as nanny to Princesses Elizabeth and Margaret. Over the years, Crawford became such a trusted servant to the royals that she stayed in service until 1948, when Princess Elizabeth became engaged to Philip Mountbatten. In 1949, the American Ladies' Home Journal approached her for a piece they were writing on royal children. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, aka the mother of Elizabeth and Margaret, thought it would be a good way for Crawford to earn some extra money. There was a strict understanding, however, that she would be anonymous. The article was full of sweet anecdotes from the royal nursery and perfect for the American public. But when the magazine hit the stands, there was one glaring mistake: Marion Crawford was named as the interviewee. The Queen Mother was furious and instantly blamed Crawford, saying that she had gone off her head. The family severed all ties with Crawford, who moved back to Scotland and never got over the rejection. She suffered from depression and attempted suicide twice. She kept the letters from the Queen Mother giving her consent to speak to the magazine locked away. Even though they could have cleared her name, she refused to release them. Marion Crawford died in a nursing home in 1988, still hoping to hear from the royal family. In her will, she requested that all personal letters be returned to the palace for safekeeping. The royal family have never mentioned her again or the role she played in shaping the future queen. Marrying into the royal family can be tricky. Even if you are accepted, your family may not quite match their requirements. Famously, many in-laws quietly fade into the background. When Kate Middleton married Prince William, her family were thrust into the spotlight. They appeared to be a loving and close unit, in contrast to Prince Charles, who could be awkward and distant. After the arrival of his grandchildren, Charles began to feel that he was being edged out of their life. Matters came to a head when the couple chose to spend Christmas with her parents, avoiding the traditional meet at Sandringham. Aware of his disapproval, Charles's staff began to freeze out the Middletons, which upset William. News of the rift reached the Queen, who was reportedly very fond of Kate's family. A few weeks later in September 2016, the Middletons were invited to stay at Balmoral as personal guests of the Queen. The press turned out to photograph the royal group as they drove to a shooting party and were treated to the sight of the Queen behind the wheel with Kate Middleton next to her as guest of honor. Her security team were relegated to the back seats. Game, set, and match to Her Majesty.